slammed a part of the state still recovering from Hurricane Laura. Delta is the 10th named storm to make landfall in the U.S. this year. Matthew Cappucci joins me now. He's a meteorologist with the Washington Post. Matthew, appreciate you giving us your time. You've been doing excellent coverage on this. Give us an update right now on what the situation is like.
Well, the good news, Delta is gone but not forgotten. Right now here in Washington, D.C., in the nation's capital, we've seen over 4 centimeters of rain already. And you can see behind me, that rain is still coming down. But the good news, it's a sunny day down in the deep south. New Orleans recovering, Lake Charles recovering. But I still think there's more left in this hurricane season. We're hoping the Gulf starts to simmer down. But for the time being, you know, we still have a lot to keep an eye on.
Yeah, no, you certainly do. And again, these back-to-back hurricanes, you were already reeling from Laura, which we know caused extensive damage. And now, of course, Delta coming in, you know, like a lion, really, and causing widespread flooding. And you mentioned there, this is not going to be the end of it. So how is the hurricane season this year now so far compared to what you've seen in past years?
This is by far the busiest hurricane season I have ever seen or ever covered. You know, back in 2005, that was the only other time when we had to use a Greek alphabet, meaning we ran out of names from the conventional storm naming list. And this year we've had to dip into the Greek alphabet. Alpha, beta, gamma, we're now on delta, and next up is epsilon. It's only happened once before. Now, the previous time that happened didn't happen until much later. Delta didn't come until November 22nd. We're a month ahead of record pace. Now, most storms this season have been comparatively tame, with the exception of storms like Sally, Delta, Laura. But keep in mind, it only takes one to leave a mark, and some areas in southwestern Louisiana have seen 2 back-to-back.
Yeah, and talking about leaving those marks there, talk to us more about the recovery efforts, Matthew, how people are coping. We know there's a great deal of resilience, but this has certainly hit them hard.
Yeah, this is not something we have to typically deal with, having 2 storms within about 25 kilometers of each other in just a month and a half's time. I drove around on Thursday night in Lake Charles and across downtown Sulphur in Louisiana, both areas very hard hit from Laura and the 220-kilometer-per-hour winds they saw at the end of August. And I saw mounds of rubble everywhere. There were some buildings that were completely collapsed and hadn't been cleaned up yet. There were just piles of trash on the side of the road, and then that became dangerous and potentially deadly projectiles when Delta came through. Now, earlier on, we actually saw the mayor of downtown Lake Charles call out the head of FEMA, saying they're just not getting the help they need. And I can understand why. It seems like that area has been somewhat forgotten because it's kind of in a rural area somewhere between Houston, somewhere between downtown New Orleans, but about, I'd say, 2 hours from each. So it's very easy for people to overlook that area, and they really do still need our help because it will be a long road ahead. It will take months, if not years, to recover.
Wow. And speaking of that long road, and again, couple all that with you guys, we're all in the middle of a pandemic here. Matthew, what are you tracking now? As you say, it's not over yet. There could be more. What storms could you potentially be tracking now?
Well, there's a wave that has piqued my interest. It's about 700 miles east of the Lesser Antilles right now. It could bring some heavy rainfall to the Leeward Islands later on this week into this weekend. But thereafter, looks like things will simmer for a little while. But around October 25th-ish, I'm seeing what we call a convectively coupled Kelvin wave movement. Basically, a big area of rising air over the open Atlantic. And what that means is there's an increased chance of convective or thunderstorm development that could lead to tropical cyclone development. And so a lot of different steps that really make it favorable for us to see at least 1 or 2 more storms this season, getting deeper into the naming list than we ever have before. And ordinarily, a time when we see a decline in tropical activity, we could see another uptick into the start of November.
Certainly not the year we expected. 2020 is keeping its mark on us.
Never a dull moment.
Not at all. Meteorologist Matthew Cappucci with the Washington Post. Again, great reporting. Matthew, you stay safe. Always appreciate this from you. Thank you.